And welcome back in, Retriever fans. Another edition of the UMBC Baseball Weekly Report with UMBC Baseball head coach Liam Bowen recapping the week that was, looking ahead to the week that will be for UMBC Baseball. Coach, welcome back in.
Thanks, Dave.
So the Retrievers getting a 4-game sweep of Niagara this past weekend and then falling at Towson most recently on Tuesday. We'll talk about both those series as well as preview the weekend up at Mount St. Mary's. But Coach, just a quick recap. Let's start most recently with the loss at Towson on Tuesday.
Yeah, a little bit of a disappointing game. Number one, I thought Towson played well. They really pitched it well. They had a veteran arm go 6 innings against us, a guy who I think is going to make big contributions for him the rest of the year, and he gave us a tough time. I thought there were some really good at-bats mixed in there. I felt like we were maybe like kind of catching one more barrel away from opening up in some innings, but we also were our own worst enemy at times. For a game that we didn't have any errors charged to us, I thought it was sloppy defensively with some situational stuff, again with some good stuff mixed in, and a little bit more up and down on the mound after 4 games of the weekend. Kind of trying to make sure guys get their proper rest and stuff like that. So overall, yeah, I would say it's a disappointing game. It kind of highlighted some things that we need to clean up. Right now, it's Wednesday. It's raining here in Baltimore, so we'll be indoors. But we're excited to get a Thursday practice outside where we can work on some things that we saw need to get tightened up. So that's mostly what I'm taking away from that Towson game.
And then before that, last weekend, a 4-game sweep of Niagara, the first 4-game sweep for you guys since 2019 against a team you'll play this coming weekend, Mount St. Mary's, but we'll talk about them a little bit later on. But just recap that weekend against Niagara. The offense was rolling. You outscored them 26-12 over the 4-game stretch, and the pitching really seemed to settle down.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a little bit biased in that I'm going to start with the pitching. I still coach our pitchers and was the pitching coach here for 8 years, as you know, Dave. But yeah, it was great to see some young pitchers really settle in, see some guys start to really settle into roles. We had we've been talking about it, and we talked about it a little bit on here last week. I know but we've been talking about it with our staff, just about giving us length in games. And that's when you can really get guys set into roles and routines that allow them to be their best. When you can count on certain pitchers to get you a number of outs, each time you call their number. So one thing that really stood out to me was Luke Johnson, Joe Puchek, and Jaden Shertell all pitched 6 innings in that series, all pitched effectively. All of them are underclassmen, so that's good. That's something that you want to see out of your young guys, where they can turn the lineup over a couple times and give you, like I said, an opportunity to let your bullpen pitch in more comfortable situations where they have a chance to be successful. And then Keegan Leffler on Sunday, like, the guy threw 10 innings in the week and was really effective for us both times, both against Georgetown and then against Niagara. And he found a way to give the bullpen the ball in the 7th inning, which I thought was outstanding. Not an underclassman, 5th-year guy, but definitely showed some value for that experience and the kind of veteran presence that you want. So, yeah, I thought it was a weekend where when I tell people, hey, look, I really think our team has improved from last year. I thought the pitching last weekend showed a lot of that, where it's clear that we're going to be able to have more control of games. We have more depth on the mound. More guys are available. It's a more standard season, all that stuff. And then you're talking about the offense. 26 runs over 4 games. Had some really clutch at bats. Some innings where we were able to score with 2 outs. Had some at bats where we found a way to put balls in play. I thought Niagara. I know they're not off to a great start record wise. I thought their starting pitching was actually really good. They had they ran 3 guys out the first 3 games against us that would I think start for a lot of teams in the country and certainly would fit in our league. As we get deeper into the season, I think we certainly still have another gear offensively. I think some veteran guys are starting to kind of find their feet and starting to take better swings. So this weekend was a step in the right direction for that as well.
And then you mentioned those starters going at least 6 innings, getting the ball to the bullpen in the 7th and later in the game. And especially them being underclassmen, it's got to feel good for you as a coach to see those younger guys get that kind of experience, but also perform well now, get that confidence as you start to get later on in the season. Now the conference play is going to open up in a couple of weeks.
Sure. And for me, this is kind of part of the overall vision here. When I became the head coach, when I was the assistant coach here, we had some very good years. We had some very good years on the mound. Some guys came in and pitched great for us. I think we were pretty reliant in that period on transfers. We had some transfers come in and pitch well, and that's always going to be a part of our team and most teams. In college baseball, we really have made it a concerted effort to try and get younger on the mound, which we understand, has some short-term costs. Like guys pitching as an 18 or 19-year-old against 22 and now 23-year-olds in this kind of current age of college baseball. Like there's going to be some growing pains, and we get that, but there's also a real payoff in the end, where you get those guys to grow through that experience, and then to give you some continuity on the mound over the course of a number of years, more so than always trying to bring in another transfer arm. So it's starting to work, and it's kind of following the schedule that I thought it would, where I knew it would be a little bit of a grind early on, but we're starting to get to the point where we've gathered enough depth on the mound. I think, we gave up 5 yesterday. I think that's the most we've given up in the last 5 games or so. I think we're starting to exert a little bit more control on that side of the ball, and that's good to see.
And one of those guys you mentioned, Luke Johnson, Mr. Do Everything, it seems like, for you guys. He can hit, he pitches, and even this weekend he played a little bit of first base, had an amazing diving stop on Saturday, and then dove to get the out at first. Just talk about him, having a guy like that you can put at the plate as a designated hitter and he can perform. You could put him on the mound, you could put him in the field. Just having a guy like that you can rely on.
He's a really good baseball player, in a number of facets of the game. He's an excellent defensive first baseman, as you pointed out. I think beyond his skill set, he's really his best quality is just his character and competitive spirit. Like, he's a guy who from day one as a freshman last year was always a super genuine competitor. He's kind of a throwback kid in that he really does a great job of keeping his focus between the lines. Like, when he's out there competing for us, like there's nothing else that's running through that guy's mind. And I think the other guys feed off that. Like, that's a guy, it's kind of become like a coaching cliche that, you want the players to be where their feet are and to be in the moment. He's only a sophomore, but he's as good at that as anybody, that I've seen in quite a while. So that's the thing that's allowed him to use his ability to really help us win games. And it's obvious, he had a really good weekend. You saw it yourself. He's got, plenty of things to offer the game, but just never a guy that gets in his own way, always competing, always, just trying to put himself in a position where he can affect the outcome of the game. And yeah, he's been really good for us so far. And definitely a guy that I know all of us enjoy coaching.
And then now starting to look ahead here these next couple of weeks. Conference play opens up in 2 weeks. You got Albany at home. To talk about the way the conference is set up, seems like everybody is fairly even. It's been that way for the past couple of years, a really competitive league. But just talk about conference play opening up here in a couple of weeks and getting started with that.
Well, we're certainly not looking past your alma mater, Dave, Mount St. Mary's. I know that's where you went to school, and we're trying to play sharper than we did against Towson, and certainly do a good job against those guys. We also have GW in Massachusetts after that. So another cliche, but we want to take it one at a time and make sure we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. As far as the conference, we're trying to be the best version of UMBC baseball we can possibly be, and we're 12 games in. We just had a staff meeting earlier today, and we were talking about that. Obviously the guys competed for opportunities on the field throughout the fall and then throughout the preseason. That's where you kind of start to make some playing time decisions. And I think at about 12 games in, that's the right time to kind of take an appraisal of that. The guys who have been playing and been getting those opportunities so far had earned those in the preseason and in the fall. And now, is a time where we can look at it and say, okay, is there an opportunity here to maybe rebalance the team so that when Albany comes in here, in 10 days or so, we're an even better version of ourselves than we've been so far. I think we've played okay so far. We've had some good moments. 4 games this weekend was obviously great. A lot of these losses have been really tight, like really good competitive games. I definitely think we have plenty of room to get better. We got a lot of things that we can do a lot better. We can get a lot sharper, and like I said, there may be some opportunity to kind of rebalance some roles and see what the best version of 2022 UMBC baseball is going to be. So um, if it sounds like I'm not like terribly concerned with the conference, it's only because it's my 11th year here and I know what to expect. Like Albany's going to be really well coached. They're going to do a lot of things well. If we play well, we'll have a chance to beat them. If we don't play well, it's going to be really tough because they're a good disciplined team, and it's going to be that way for 10 conference weekends. So um, I just feel like we're always better off, trying to find our best level, and then we'll figure out how that matches up with the rest of the guys when the time comes.
And then let's look ahead to what's coming up for you this week. At the end of the week, you're at home against Mount St. Mary's on Friday. You go to Emmitsburg to play St. Bonaventure on Saturday before playing Mount St. Mary's on Sunday on the road.
Mhm.
Talk about both of those schools, what they're going to bring.
So I may be breaking news on the weekly report here, Dave. I was actually just talking with Mount St. Mary's head coach. We got some weather in the area on Saturday, so people should anticipate some changes to the schedule. I'm sure there'll be some sort of changes. We're hammering those out now as the forecast kind of gets firmed up. What I'll say about both those teams, we play Mount St. Mary's. I think we've played them last year, accepted. Last year, obviously, the schedule is much different. I think we've played them every year I've been here. Previous to that, I know they've got a new coaching staff in there, guys with good track records who have done a good job other places. Got some assistants that I know. So I'm expecting them to be improved from where they've been the past couple of years. I think when new coaches come into a situations, a lot of times you can get like a little bit of a bounce, and I'm expecting them to bring that bounce to us when they play us. So yeah, I think there'll be a good challenge. I think it'll be a great chance to continue to improve our team and get us sharp for conference play. And St. Bonaventure, frankly, I know less about. A team that we haven't played since I've been at UMBC, but we'll make sure that we do the work that we need to get prepared for that. I've mentioned this like several times on many of these, but the technology now is it's like light years different than when I started coaching or started at UMBC. The video we have on all these guys give us an opportunity to get to know these teams pretty well. So we'll keep doing our work there, but just mostly trying to catch one, kind of step up one more gear with our group because we're much closer, than we were last year. But we're certainly nowhere close to being a finished product. We've got some room for growth for sure.
Not just a baseball coach, but also an insider breaking news on
Right. Yeah.
It's the first time we've had that.
I'm gonna have to step up my Twitter presence if that's gonna be my second career. I'm a little bit Twitter averse, as you guys know in sports info. So you guys do a great job of handling that stuff. So yeah, don't look for me as a newsbreaker. I think I'll just keep coaching our team.
Sounds good. Well, Coach, thank you for taking the time and good luck this week.
All right, go Dogs.
Go Dogs. The Retrievers back home on Friday against Mount St. Mary's, and then the weekend set, as Coach said, might change. But for right now, scheduled it's Saturday at Mount St. Mary's against St. Bonaventure, and then Sunday against the Mountaineers. As always, you can keep up to date with UMBC Baseball at umbcretrievers.com and the team's Twitter page at UMBC Baseball.